alongside Romy Mayer. Romy, I mean, you grew up in Germany, you moved to Australia. Were you always around motorsport growing up?
Actually, not at all. Like, obviously, most of the people in Germany, they watch Formula One because there are quite a lot of German drivers. And that time, when I was young, there was Michael Schumacher, really big. So, but I haven't been involved in motorsports until my university. My parents, like I said, they watch Formula One, but no one has a motorsport background. So I haven't been on a racetrack in a paddock until I actually went to uni and joined a student Formula team. Yeah.
So you knew very little about motorsport. What about cars was it that interested you? Because Michael Schumacher, as you said, was one of the biggest names, even in Australia, worldwide. Because even these days, you've got Daniel Ricciardo doing well as an Australian, but Michael Schumacher, tell me a bit about him. Have you ever met him? What's he like?
I met actually his brother, because his brother, Ralf Schumacher, he used to race in the DTM series. It's a German touring car series, and while I was working there, he was in our team as well as a race driver. And Michael Schumacher was around from time to time, but I haven't really met or talked to him too much now.
Interesting. So you say you found it in university, and then how did you get into it from there? Talk us through that.
So, like, the way kind of I got in is because in the area where I grew up, in the south of Germany, in Stuttgart, all the big German car makers are there, like Mercedes, Audi, and Porsche. So the whole industry is involved around that. Even all the suppliers are close by, and so I was always interested in the road car industry, or in the car building cars or designing cars.
Yeah.
And then the motorsport is kind of the next step, because in the road cars there's like a long process until this car is built, or until this car goes onto the road. And in motorsport, everything needs to be super precise in the right moment, and it's just another level up.
Absolutely.
So that's what really interested me. And
So mechanical engineering is what you study.
Yep.
Now, I am the worst person ever when it comes to mathematics. Couldn't give you a 13 times 15 or times 16 for that matter. That course, did that lead you to the right path? I mean, is that exactly what you needed to do to work in motorsport?
So I was always really good in math and physics in school, so that kind of got me a bit interested also in all the technical side of motorsports in the end. And you need to be, especially in the role we're on, you need to be good with data and with numbers.
You worked for GTM for Mercedes. Working for a brand like that, which is arguably the biggest car brand in the world, how much did that open up your eyes to the industry? But Mercedes as a whole, how professional were they?
Yeah, so that the DTM team of Mercedes it's a really big motorsports team. So they have a big department for the design and a big department for the engine development. And it was a really great insight to get in there, like as my first job in motorsports, and to see how a big motorsport team operate and how they build a race car from scratch and what's involved in all that. And that really opened all the eyes on the whole motorsports industry.
So how does a GTM car differ to, say, a supercar?
It has much more downforce than DTM cars. And they're a bit different. It's just based on a different model, and the rules are really different from the two race series. So that mainly gives you the frame how to build and how to develop these race cars. And the DTM cars have more downforce, so they go a bit faster than these. But this one has also a lot of horsepower. So there's difference here and there. On these cars.
Now, is there a time that when you're at Mercedes that really sticks out here? Is there a highlight from your time at Mercedes that sticks out?
There were a few highlights, obviously.
Do share.
No, there was. I think the whole first year, the first race year for me was pretty special, because it was, like I said, pretty new for me to be on the track all the time, traveling to all the different circuits, and so it was just like the whole year, the process of growing into it. And traveling with a really successful team and winning races, the whole year I think was really special.
Was there a particular course that you thought, okay, this is going to be hard for me to kind of get used to it and work out what needs to be done?
There's a lot of things you need to remember and needs to get done. Like it's even just when I came here, though I worked already 5 years in motorsports in kind of a similar role, just different cars. When I came here, still like the first month, it was just so much, and like you need to think about so many different things or additional things or different. It's pretty full on, especially when you change like the team of when I first got into it. I'm like, how do all these people think of all the small bits here and there? But yeah, then you get a routine, and some of the jobs you just do normally, it just gets a routine, and then you focus on a bit other things and more and develop more. Yeah.
And now you spoke about coming here, so an opportunity came up to come to Australia and join Red Bull. Now tell us a bit about that, and how did that opportunity come about?
Yeah, so that was in 2015. Yeah, just like I worked 5 years with Mercedes, and I wanted a bit of change. As I said, it was also my first job in motorsports, so I felt like I need to grow a bit, I need to change a bit up. And I wanted to change location as well. I wanted to speak a different language and go to a different country. And I think, as how there would be like England or Australia, so Australia was a bit more interesting for me.
Absolutely.
Because I like the beach, I like to surf, so, and actually that was the year when Triple Eight Race Engineering announced that they go from 2 cars to 3 cars for the next season. So I thought like, they might need some more engineers when they have another car. And then I sent my CV to our team manager, and I had an interview with them, and everything worked out well. So 3 months later, I was in Australia.
How big an adjustment was it for you to move from Germany to Australia? Because you said to learn a new language. I mean, was your English quite good when you were living in Germany, or?
Well, yeah, I could speak kind of fluent English, but it's still different when you use it as your main language. As you need to change your thinking and everything. It's different in a different language, but it's a big location change. I just gave up everything in Germany and said like, okay, I'm over. I thought always like, if it doesn't work, I just go back. It's so fine as well, but it's pretty far from everything. I didn't know anyone here. Well, the good thing is with the team, they're amazing. My team, like they took me right away, sightseeing tour down the Gold Coast, and it's good to have a team, and it feels like home right away. It felt like a good family there, so that was pretty good.
And speaking of home, we spoke about just before, so home for you now is the Gold Coast, and what's your favourite thing about the Gold Coast?
Just being on the beach, living on the beach, it's
awesome.
Amazing, yeah. Like just even waking up, going for a walk when the sun comes up, and seeing dolphins and whales jumping around, it's like so unreal for me, coming from Germany. Like from the place where I lived in Germany, it would be an 8-hour drive to the ocean. Like
8 hours?
Yeah, 8 hours.
So how often would you do that?
No. Once a year you would take a plane, actually, obviously that's faster, but it's in the middle of, you would go to Italy, that's closer to the ocean than to north of Germany where the ocean is as well. So,
I just want to dissect a little bit, because Mercedes is such a big brand, and you're saying you're living in the Gold Coast, you're loving life, and then you've got to come back to work in a professional atmosphere.
Yeah.
How does Red Bull in Australia, just say, compared to, say, Mercedes in Europe, where we are known to be pretty laid back here?
Yeah. No, I mean, the work environment is pretty much the same, like in terms of that when you work in a motorsport team, it's your schedule is determined on the races and on the whole race season, so it's not a 9-to-5 job, or the cars need to be ready before they need to go on the racetrack, so you need to make sure all your work is done on the car, everything needs to be prepared, and there is long hours, especially if we have a short turnaround between the races, or if the races are far, like in Darwin or Perth, so it takes a long time for our trucks to travel. trucks live, and that's pretty much similar in each race, each really professional race team, and Triple Eight Race Engineering is a professional race team, so you still need to be focused, get your job done, make sure nothing gets left behind and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, a bit about your role. You're a data engineer for the Red Bull team, and how much of the day-to-day performance of your job on the car relies on your job?
So it's really different. Like almost every day is really different. So pretty much it's leading up to a race weekend, like this here in Sydney. So last week we prepared the car. So you kind of look on the data from the year before. So we have all the data which the car records, like all the temperature, the sensors, the pressures, but also performance-related inputs. We look at them, go through them, see what we did good last year, what wasn't that good, where we can improve in which area of the track,
Right.
and prepare the cars in that way, and the decisions which dampers we put in and which rearing angle we're racing, and that happens so usually the week before we go to a race weekend. Then on the race weekend, I make sure that all temperatures, pressures, all other sensors are working and in the right range. But also then looking at the performance related sensors, which are like steering angles, we have brake pressures to see how the race driver drives the car, and then also seeing what's the car do, if it's going well or where we need to improve it. And we have 3 race cars, so we can compare each driver and each car and see which is better and which is worse. So, and that happens on the race weekend when we have our practice sessions. We just changing up some settings, seeing what's going well, which direction we need to hit, and then we have qualifying, and then after the race, and I mean, depending how you qualify, you start your race more to the front or a bit more to the back.
Yeah.
And in the race, it's all about strategy. So we look for, because usually there's a certain fuel strategy you need to run, and then you need to watch your competitors, if what they are doing and how you can overtake them, if it's in the pits or depending on the tires you have available and all that. And then obviously after the race weekend, when you come back home, you have all this data and all the weekend just behind you, but you need to look through it and go through it and see what was good. If we had some issues on the car, some mechanical issues, we go through all that, or everything will be brought up, and we just make sure like how we can improve from what we learned the weekend.
There's a fantastic video of you online, and it looks to me like it's basically just squiggly lines and numbers as you looking at this TV. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking closely, I'm zooming in into the photo or the vision, and I don't personally, I don't get it, obviously, because I haven't studied what you've done and I haven't been working in the industry, but how strenuous is it? Because surely, even though you are very experienced, the more and more you look at it, there's got to be times where you got to think on the spot.
Yeah.
You got to be very quick.
Yeah, that's especially in the right. I mean, depending, like if there's something you spot, you have alarms, and you see something jumps out of the range, you need to react right away. If not, if there's a failure on the car, you need to get it right away in the pits, and especially in the races. The race also depends not only if your car is performing or how is it performing, but also all the others. Or if, for example, on this race weekend we had a safety car because there was a car going off the track. So then it was a critical time of the race, and then we need to make really fast decisions. If you want to pit, how much fuel you need to put in, all that you need to be spot on, and you need to communicate with the other team members that everyone is on top, what's happening and what you want to do.
And who works in your team? Because there's you and there's got to be a few other people, right?
So on each of our 3 cars, we have 2 engineers. So it's a data engineer like me, and the race engineer. Race engineer is the main engineer. He does all the communication with the race drivers, and we as a data engineer feed them with all the information we see on the data. And then we have 2 dedicated mechanics. They will always stay on the cars, like the chief mechanic and the second mechanic. And then we have a few other mechanics. Some are responsible for the dampers, some are responsible for all the chassis components. We have engine engineers. We have our team manager who cooperates all the engineers. And there are heaps of people also around. to make a teamwork successful.
So what's the hardest part about your job? Because you smiled the whole way through when you were just telling me about your job.
Yeah.
And to me, it just sounds like it's a really intense environment to work in.
Yeah, actually, that's what I like.
That's what you like? Well, there you go. It's not for everyone.
No, but
it's good.
I mean, last Saturday, so we just won the race first and second, so that's why I'm smiling.
That's good, see? That's
when you have a good weekend like that. Now, yeah, obviously, if your car breaks down, if something's not going well in the race, if you started first and finished fourth, you're disappointed. Yeah, I think it's a lot of the things is the mental side, just to keep you motivated, keep you up, even if you have some disappointments, or if you have a shit race weekend, you still need to go back to the workshop and work through the whole data. And even if you just want to say, I just want to forget it, but you need to go through it and make sure everything, it doesn't happen like that anymore, and you can improve from that. And that's difficult sometimes, but yeah, that's how you improve. That's the only way.
You're ambassador for Dare to be Different. Talk to us a bit about it, and what is it that you're trying to achieve?
Yes, so the Dare to be Different program, it's first launched in the UK and in Germany. It's getting really big there. They're doing a lot of events, which is really good to see. So that's targeting girls at a really young age, like from 8 to 12 years, and just giving them an idea what kind of jobs are out there in the motorsport. It's all about motorsports, but it's not only about engineering or technical. It's also on the media side, on a journalism side, but also for girls race drivers. So yeah, it brings the whole motorsports world together, and want to show girls how it's like to work in motorsports and give them some ideas. And they have to be different days, so they inviting girls at the age from 8 to 12 in, and they're doing different challenges, like one of kind of more like physical challenge, and then one is about I think it's about doing interviews, and then one is simulator racing, and then one is a steam challenge, and it seems to go really well over there. And we just launched it in Australia beginning of the year when there was the Australian Grand Prix and F1. We combined all that, and the Dare to be Different Day is gonna start from September on. We'll have different locations, and hope it gets going and we get some more girls interested into motorsport.
What's the biggest challenge for you though when it comes to that? Because have you had a lot of girls interested in the program?
It's just all starting at the moment. We're just trying to figure out how we can get the program from Europe over here, and because it's a really different environment as well. In Europe, everything is so dense, so they have like all the racetracks close by. There are a lot of race series, so they have it within DTM, within Formula E, within the Formula One. So it's easier for them to just set it up within them and have that challenge there. And here it's all pretty far apart. There's Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and you cannot just bring everything just over there. So
it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, but it will be a good thing once it gets going.